Last Friday at 11 p.m., 4.2 million people opened Uber at roughly the same time. Bars closing, flights landing, concerts ending, dates wrapping up. For each of those 4.2 million people, Uber had to answer the same question. Which driver? Not just any driver, the one who'll arrive fastest, from the right direction, on a route that actually makes sense. And it had to answer that question in under 3 seconds, for all of them, at once. While traffic was shifting, drivers were finishing trips, and new riders were popping up every millisecond. Most apps just fetch data from a database. Uber is solving a real-time optimization puzzle across the entire planet. And somehow, your car just shows up. Let's break down how. Uber completes over 20 million trips every day across 10,000 cities. Behind every trip is a matching problem. And to solve it, Uber built one of the most sophisticated real-time systems on the planet. We're going to break it into 5 pieces. How Uber tracks millions of drivers. How it finds the ones near you in microseconds. How it picks the best one. How it handles the chaos of rush hour. And how it all stays running when servers inevitably crash. Every driver with the Uber app open sends their location every 4 seconds. Millions of drivers. Billions of location pings per day. But here's the problem. When you request a ride, Uber can't check the distance to every single driver on the planet. That would take forever. So Uber built something called H3. Imagine taking a map of the entire world and covering it with hexagons, like a honeycomb. Small ones, roughly the size of a city block. Each hexagon gets a simple ID, just a number. Why hexagons and not squares? Stand in the middle of a square. Your corner neighbors are farther away than your side neighbors. That's uneven. Stand in the middle of a hexagon. All 6 neighbors are the exact same distance, uniform in every direction. That matters a lot when you're measuring who's close to you. Now here's the clever part. Every driver's GPS coordinate gets converted into a hexagon ID. Uber keeps a live list in memory. Each hexagon ID points to the drivers currently inside it. When you request a ride, Uber finds your hexagon, checks it and the 6 surrounding hexagons, and instantly gets a short list. Millions of drivers, narrowed to 20 or 30, in microseconds. You'd think the nearest driver on a map is the obvious choice. But map distance lies. A driver half a mile away might be across a river with no bridge nearby. A driver 1 mile away might be on a straight road heading right toward you. So Uber doesn't look at map distance at all. For every candidate driver, it calculates the actual drive time. Real roads, real turns, real traffic, right now. And here's something most people don't realize. Every active Uber trip is also a traffic sensor. Millions of cars reporting their speed on every road. Uber builds a live traffic map from this data, updating every few minutes. In cities with lots of Uber rides, their traffic data is more accurate than almost anyone else's. Each candidate driver gets an ETA. But that's not the whole picture. Uber also looks at which direction the driver is heading. A driver 3 minutes away moving toward you is better than a driver 2 minutes away driving the opposite direction who would need to U-turn. They also look at fairness. A driver who's been sitting idle for 20 minutes without a trip gets a boost. And they consider whether this match will leave the driver in a good spot for their next pickup or strand them somewhere with no demand. All these factors get combined into a single score per driver. Highest score wins. And the whole thing takes about 200 milliseconds. This is the part that breaks most people's intuition. You'd assume Uber gets your request, finds the best driver, assigns them, done. Next person. This is called greedy matching. It seems smart, but it's actually wasteful. Here's a simple example. Two riders, Alice and Bob, request at the same time. The best driver for both of them is driver 1. If Uber matches greedily, Alice gets driver 1, and Bob gets stuck with driver 3, who is 8 minutes away. But if Uber had given driver 1 to Bob and driver 2 to Alice, both of them would wait under 3 minutes. The best choice for one person isn't always the best choice for the system. So Uber doesn't match one at a time. Every 2 seconds, it collects all unmatched riders and all available drivers in a city and solves a global puzzle. What set of matches gives the lowest total wait time for everyone? Think of it like seating at a wedding. You don't assign seats one guest at a time. You look at the entire guest list, all the tables, and find the arrangement where everyone ends up reasonably happy. Uber does this every 2 seconds, for every city, with thousands of people. The result? Batch matching reduces average wait time by about 20% compared to greedy matching. Across 20 million daily trips, that's millions of minutes saved every single day. Everything so far is reactive. Someone requests a ride, the system matches them. But what about spikes? 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve. A stadium emptying 60,000 fans. A sudden rainstorm at rush hour on a Friday. If Uber only reacted to demand, it would always be too late. By the time 40,000 people request rides, the drivers simply aren't there. So Uber predicts the future. Their models forecast demand 10 to 15 minutes ahead. They look at time of day of week, weather, local events, flight schedules, historical patterns, and dozens of other signals. A concert ending at 10 p.m.? Uber knows by 9:45 that demand near that venue is about to spike. It starts acting immediately. Nearby drivers get a notification, something like, "High demand expected near this venue." Drivers who reposition earn more, so they move willingly. The supply shifts before the demand arrives. If the supply still won't be enough, surge pricing kicks in. The price goes up. This does 2 things at once. It attracts more drivers because the earnings are higher. And it slightly reduces demand because some riders choose to wait for the price to drop. Supply goes up, demand comes down, balance restores. Uber also thinks about drivers who are currently on trips near the venue and will be finishing around the time the event ends. Those about to be available drivers get factored into the supply forecast too. The result? Uber's average pickup time globally is under 5 minutes, across 10,000 cities, even during peak demand. At Uber's scale, something is always broken. Servers crash. Networks go down. Data centers overheat. If the matching system goes offline, every rider in a city is stranded. Uber's answer is beautifully simple in concept. Treat every major city as its own independent system. London runs separately from Tokyo. New York runs separately from Sao Paulo. They call this cell-based architecture. If London's matching service crashes, Tokyo keeps running normally. They share nothing. The damage from any single failure stays contained to one city. And within each city, the service runs across multiple data centers. If one goes down, the other picks up within seconds. Riders never notice. The philosophy isn't prevent all failures. It's accept that failures will happen and make them small, fast, and invisible. 5 ideas from how Uber matches 20 million rides a day. 1. The right data structure changes everything. Raw GPS coordinates meant checking millions of points. Hexagonal indexing turned it into a hash map lookup. When your system is slow, look at your data structure first. 2. Model the real world, not the simple version. Map distance is a lie. Real roads, real traffic, real turn costs. The systems that win are the ones that don't take shortcuts in how they model reality. 3. Don't be greedy. Matching one rider at a time feels logical, but wastes the system. A 2-second pause to batch and optimize globally gives 20% better results for everyone. Sometimes, slowing down makes the whole system faster. 4. Predict, don't react. Uber forecasts demand 15 minutes ahead and moves supply before the spike hits. By the time you see the problem, it's already too late to solve it. 5. Design for failure. Cell-based architecture means one city's crash can never take down another. Small blast radius, fast recovery, invisible to users. 1 tap, 3 seconds, but underneath, a hexagonal grid of the planet, real-time routing for millions, a global optimization engine, machine learning that sees 15 minutes into the future, and fault-tolerant cells that never go fully down. That's what's behind your Uber ride. If this helped, like and share.